Last week we were in Raleigh and the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Let's check out what we did there.
After a 3-hour drive from Stella to Raleigh, we got to a spot at the fairgrounds. The night we got there, we went to a chain restaurant native to the East Coast called Char Grill. To order, we filled out an order card that we slipped through a slot. It was difficult to order, took a long time, and the food wasn't really good, so I don't think we'll go back. On Sunday, we woke up and it started to snow. It only snowed for 1 hour and it melted pretty fast, but it was still cool to see. Then we went to a Baptist church. After church, we went to the North Carolina Museum of Natural Science. Admission is free, which is really cool considering how big the museum is. In my opinion, the best part of the museum was the special exhibit, plus we got in free with our membership. The exhibit focused on famous director James Cameron and his adventures in deep-sea diving. His innovative submarine took him 7 miles under the ocean to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. But the best part about the exhibit was that they had the actual movie props from the movie Titanic that James Cameron directed. They also had the real costumes the actors wore. Titanic is one of my favorite movies, so this was really cool. They also had exhibits about rocks, dinosaurs, and insects, just to name a few. The museum is so big that it has another building with a bridge connecting the two. We went to dinner at a barbecue restaurant called The Pit. Instead of using tomato-based barbecue sauce, they used a traditional southern vinegar-based sauce. We went to the North Carolina state capitol in Raleigh. It was smaller and less ornate than other capitals we've been to, but it was still pretty cool. They also had a very interesting statue of George Washington as a Roman general, which I thought was pretty funny. We saw inside the historical Senate and House of Representative rooms. Then we went upstairs and saw the state library and state geologist. Congress does not meet here anymore. They have a different building that we did not go in. Then we went to a North Carolinian donut shop called Duck Donuts. They make all of their donuts to order. You get to choose your coating, topping, and result. They were super delicious.
I went to Arizona for 2 weeks when my family was in Raleigh and the Outer Banks. I stayed with my grandma and my uncle. I got to see my great aunt, great grandma, and my mom's cousin and her kids Aiden and Maxon. Aiden, Maxon, and I painted pottery, and then a different day my great aunt took us out to crumbled apples. I swam a lot while I was there. We even took my grandma's dog swimming. I did quite a few crafts while I was there, mostly Legos. My uncle took me shooting and golfing while I was there too. We shot steel instead of the regular paper so you can hear the shots. My uncle is a golf pro, so he gave me some tips. I finished my math book while I was there. I had a great time. Thank you guys.
The day we drove to the Outer Banks happened to be National Pie Day, and when we stopped at a gas station we got a pizza for only $3.14, the first 3 digits of pie. It took 5 hours to drive to our next campground. It had no sewer, so we had to walk to the closest bathroom. It was super cold and windy the whole time we were there. The campground was close to the beach, and we went there a few times. Plus, there were lots of pretty sunsets. Our first full day in the Outer Banks, we visited the Wright Brothers National Memorial. We started at the Visitor Center, then went outside to take a peek at the cabin and playing hangar before we hiked up the hill to the monument. The Visitor Center told their story from bicycle manufacturers to spending summers at Kitty Hawk experimenting with gliders, wind tunnels, and eventually a motorized airplane. At the time, they used the wind to launch from sand dunes. Men from a nearby life-saving service helped them launch and recover many of the trial crafts and were witness to the first flight.
Flying an airplane.
The Wright brothers first went to Kitty Hawk the summer of 1900 and returned each summer to build different iterations of kites, gliders, and airplanes until they had accomplished the first 4 flights of a motorized airplane on December 17, 1903. In 3 short years, they were able to do what so many had worked on for decades. After we saw the Rustic Cabin the Wright brothers stayed in, Dad, Brianna, and Gemma had a race to the markers of the first 4 flights. Guess who won? After they finished, we watched a small plane fly over the exact route of the first flight. Then we hiked up the mountain to the monument, and do you know who was there at the unveiling? Amelia Earhart. So it's been there a long time. There's also some bronze sculptures nearby to commemorate the Wright brothers. At the end of our visit, we went back for a demonstration on how the Wright brothers steered the airplane with their hips. The plane we saw is a replica. The original is in the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Brietta and Gemma earned their Junior Ranger badge there.
I finished my math book.
Our second of 3 outings was the 2 lighthouses. The first one was Cape Hatteras Sled Station. The lighthouse was closed for repairs, so we couldn't go inside, but we did see the museum and the lighthouse keeper's quarters. Inside they had multiple exhibits focusing on different time periods, and the girls got to do a scavenger hunt. In 1999, the lighthouse and keeper's quarters were moved 2,900 feet to a safer location. Erosion was slowly making the beach smaller, causing the lighthouse to be closer and closer to the ocean. In efforts to save the historic lighthouse, it was moved to a safer location and now lies 1,500 feet from the seashore. After Cape Hatteras, we went to Bodie Lighthouse. This lighthouse was also closed for the off-season, and since the visitor center was small, we didn't stay long. The different patterns on the lighthouses were used by sailors to identify each one when they were far out at sea. Many people know Jamestown to be the first successful English colony, which is true, but there was one failed attempt before it that has been puzzling historians for years. The lost colony of Roanoke Island has been a mystery for over 400 years. Let me explain. In 1587, the Roanoke colony was started with John Wright as their leader. The colony began to run out of food, so John Wright went back to England to get supplies. His journey took him 3 years because he was delayed by the war in Europe. When he got back, the colonists and their belongings had vanished. The word Croatan and the letter C-R-O carved into trees were the only clues left behind. Wright wanted to go to Croatan Island, now known as Hatteras Island, to look for the colony, but there was a storm coming and his ship's captain did not want to risk it. Today's theories of the colony's disappearance include they went to live with the natives on Croatan Island, the Spanish attacked and killed them, or they died of disease and starvation. The only thing left of the colony now is Fort Raleigh, a fort the colonists built for protection against the Spanish. This is a really cool stop, and even though we will probably never know the real reason the colony disappeared, it is still fun coming up with different theories.
I put the Cape Hatteras sticker on the back of the RV, and Sarah put the North Carolina sticker on.
This week we stayed at our first come, first served campground. It was a little nerve-wracking not having a reservation. There were plenty of spots available, and at $35 a night for full hookups, it was a good deal to be right in town. Oregon Inlet Campground at the Outer Banks was water electric only, so no sewer. Unfortunately, their showers were winterized also, so no showers. When you think of RVs, you think of all the creature comforts, but our gray water tank only holds 3 short showers worth of water, or hand washing for a couple days, so no showers for any of us. We also have to turn off the water filtration system and use a bucket in the sink to dump the water outside like dry camping. It's quite an experience, and not one we relish for more than a couple days. This time though, the price was right and the location was perfect. We were busy sightseeing every day, all at national or state parks, so no fee. Our barbecue dinner out was good, but Texas barbecue has a beat by far.
It was really cool visiting the site of the first flight.
See you next time on Riley's on the Road. Bye!